4 AI assistants, all free, the exact same 4 tasks, and the one that lost is probably the one you're using right now. Everyone tells you to pay $20 a month, but most people never do. They just use the free version. So I stopped guessing and ran a real test. ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude and Grok, all on their free plans. The same 4 tasks, every answer scored on screen. Hard reasoning, code that has to actually run, live news with real sources, and a brutal 5-rule writing task. No cherry picking, you'll see every single answer. By the end, you'll know exactly which free AI to open for your kind of work, and which one quietly started putting ads in your answers. Quick note on how I kept this fair, because most comparison videos don't. Every model is on a free account, signed in, exactly how you'd actually use it. The same prompt, word for word, pasted into all 4. And I'm only scoring things you can't fudge. The right number, code that runs, sources that open, rules you can count. Every answer is on screen, uncut, and if a free tier hits a wall, you'll see that too. Round 1, a reasoning trap that catches people and AI alike. Same prompt to all 4. Sarah is twice as old as her brother was, when Sarah was as old as her brother is now. Sarah is 28. How old is her brother? There's one right answer, 21. And all 4 nailed it, 21 every time, with the real working shown. So round 1 is a clean 4-way tie. But watch how ChatGPT answered. It said it couldn't show its private reasoning, and then showed the reasoning anyway. Small thing, remember it. All thing. Round 2, not code that looks right, code that actually runs. Same spec to all 4, a function that returns the minimum number of meeting rooms plus its own tests. Then I ran every single one myself, and they all passed. Every model wrote a correct solution and its tests printed pass. Here's ChatGPT's Run Live, 3 out of 3. When the task is this well defined, the free tiers are genuinely good. The differences don't show up until the task gets fuzzy, so fuzzy it is. Round 3, the 3 biggest AI news stories from the past week, with a working source link for everyone. This is where free usually breaks because some free tiers can't even search the web. Grok pulled live results from X and the web and cited 73 sources, by far the widest net. Gemini gave 3 clean stories with the cleanest, most clickable links, the easiest to actually verify. Claude did something the others didn't. It flagged its own 3rd story as unverified and offered to dig deeper. That's the one I trust most, an AI that tells you when it isn't sure. And ChatGPT, it has live web too. But its 3 biggest AI stories were a stock market sell-off and a lifestyle piece about an AI boyfriend, one of them locked behind a paywall. And right in the middle of the answer, an ad, a real ad inside the response. Round 3 goes to Claude for trust, with Gemini and Grok right behind. Round 4 is the one that separates them. 1 prompt, 5 rules at once. A product description that's exactly 50 words, uses the word titanium exactly twice, contains no word starting with the letter S, ends on a question, and uses British spelling. Miss one, you fail. Gemini quietly nailed all 5. Exactly 50 words, titanium twice, not one S word, ends on a question, British spelling. A clean 5 out of 5 from the free model. I counted every word myself. Grok also hit 50 and the structure, only soft missing on actually using a British spelling. Call it 4.5. ChatGPT came back as one of those which answer do you prefer experiments with another ad on top. And its answer was 42 words, not 50. 4 out of 5. It failed the one rule you can literally count. And Claude did the most interesting thing in the entire test. It didn't guess. It ran code to count its own words, realized it was off, and fixed itself in real time. Off by 2. Need 7 more words, all 5 rules check out. 5 out of 5 with its working shown, on the free tier. here's what a scoreboard can't show you, what each one is actually like to live with. Claude is the slowest and heaviest by a mile. Every answer makes you wait. And remember, free Claude runs Sonnet. It's mid-tier, not the newest model. Gemini is the opposite. Fast, clean, and it never once interrupted me. Grok stops to think for 20 or 30 seconds on the harder questions, and under load it just throttles. A high demand, come back later wall. And ChatGPT, free ChatGPT now drops ads right inside your answers, quietly runs those "which replied do you prefer" experiments on you mid-task, and if you're not even signed in, it cuts you off after about 3 messages. So even on the rounds where the scores tied, the experience didn't. 2 of these get out of your way, one of them increasingly gets in it. So who actually wins? Honestly, nobody wins everything, and that's the useful part. Here's the cheat sheet by what you do. If you want answers you can trust and check. Hard reasoning, following exact instructions, knowing when the AI is unsure, use Claude. It's the only one that verified its own work. The catch: it's the slowest, and free Claude is Sonnet, not its top model. If you want the best all-round free tool for precise, everyday work, Gemini Flash. It scored a perfect 5 on the hardest round, gave the cleanest sources, it's fast, and there are no ads. That's the surprise pick of this whole test. If you live on what's happening right now, breaking news, live takes, Grok, for the sheer breadth of live sources. And ChatGPT, it's still the most familiar, and it's genuinely strong at reasoning. But in this test, it came last on every measurable round. It now serves you ads, it runs experiments on you, and it locks you out completely if you're not signed in. The default just isn't the best free option anymore. So here's the takeaway: stop defaulting to ChatGPT because everyone else does. For most real work, free Gemini or free Claude will quietly do it better, and you're not paying with your attention. If this saved you $20 a month, that's the whole point of this channel. We actually run the tools so you don't have to guess. New here? Subscribe. Every week we put the latest AI head-to-head and tell you the honest truth, even when it's boring. I tested the paid plans next, and the gap is not what you'd expect. And tell me in the comments, which free AI do you actually open first? Comment the word free, and I'll send you the exact 4 prompts I used so you can run this test yourself. I'll see you in the next one.